Samuel Haskell Jr. is facing charges in the killings of his wife and in-laws after body parts were allegedly found in his trash as well as in a nearby dumpster. A surveillance video obtained by TMZ shows Haskell exiting his car, opening the dumpster, and then removing what appears to be a very large trash bag from his trunk, which he then tosses into that dumpster. Haskell's wife, Mei, and her parents are currently missing. The torso found in the dumpster has not yet been identified, but authorities suspect it belongs to Mei. This is a disturbing story. There's still a lot of mystery behind it. Let's bring in our guest, forensic death investigator, professor, and host of the Body Bags podcast, Joseph Scott Morgan, with us this morning, and former DEA senior special agent David Katz. It's so good to see you both. Let me start with you, David. When you hear that there is a torso found in a body bag, what's the first thing that you're thinking of in terms of an investigation in this case?
Well, I mean, besides the obvious level of depravity that's involved in the case, you start thinking, where the murder take place? Where was the torso mutilated? Where would we likely find blood evidence that would be, I apologize for being graphic, but that would be present on a floor, in a bathtub, on saws or knives or whatever implement was used to carry out this fiendish crime. So I think that's probably, one of the first things that I would be looking at.
Samuel Haskell Jr., the son of a well-known agent there in California. Joseph Scott and Morgan, your take on this case, based on the limited information we have now, especially with those parents still missing.
Yeah, one of the problems with dismemberment cases is that it's very difficult many times to make a determination on cause of death, not the manner of death. They can certainly say this is homicidal violence. However, being able to peg that down, what precisely modality was utilized in order to facilitate this, and just kind of echoing the sentiments of my colleague just a moment ago, you need a space in order to facilitate this kind of thing that's closed, where you have access to power, perhaps, that is going to allow you this sequestered environment so that you can do the work at hand. And more than likely, you're going to have commonality from a forensic standpoint relative to tool marks on torsos and the elements of the bodies that are recovered that can tie back to a specific tool. That's going to be important here because it's highly unlikely the individual would have changed the tool set that they were using. So it's going to be important when they're conducting these searches to take every tool that this guy had access to as a specific tie back forensically.
And David, no doubt they're going to be looking at this relationship between this suspect and his wife, what was going on. Can you talk about what that looks like from an investigative standpoint when you have I think it's even more shocking that there are 3 people who are missing and that he is now under suspicion for all 3.
Yeah, well, you can clearly look at the volatility of the relationship. This doesn't happen in a vacuum. There's going to be a history of conduct between all the parties that indicates some level of conflict, and most likely earlier incidents involving some act of violence. This doesn't. A happy couple doesn't wake up and someone gets angry during a single engagement and murder your wife and your in-laws, and then do it in such a grisly fashion. And I would also say we had a case back, this is also over 30 years ago, a dismemberment case in New York City where it was a Mei organized crime figure was doing this to the victims, and it was being done in his bathtub. I mean, this is just, if you consider just physically the difficulty in again, I apologize for being gruesome. You're carving up a human being. You're going through muscle and tissue and bone. This is not an easy task. It's brutal. It's gruesome. And if you consider what the mental state and the emotional state of the individual who in this case is charged with this crime, that is truly frightening. It didn't happen, as I said, in a vacuum.
I absolutely agree. It's depraved when you think about just what it takes, and we have seen those stories. We've seen trials against people who have dismembered people, and a lot of times they're arguing some type of insanity or not being aware of the wrongfulness of their actions once they get to the actual jury trial. Joseph Scott Morgan, I'll let you have the last word on this. In terms of what you think is next, I mean, he's got a $2 million bail or bond right now, so he is behind bars as they're trying to piece together this. How difficult of a case is it, however, if they aren't able to locate these parents? But we hope that they are found and that they are found safe.
Yeah, I certainly do too. But you know, being the realist that I am, I think that it's very important that they keep the scene secure wherever he's domiciled. This home that they've made mention of, that's I think in Tarzana originally. They need to really lock this area down and go through this, because what's going to happen from a forensic standpoint when you're talking about blood evidence and any other kind of biologics that are there, you're going to have commingling of this evidence. And it's really important because you're trying to determine the dynamics of what went about in that environment. Also, you're going to have commingling of remains if they don't find them.
Absolutely, and we know they've got that video. That's going to be very big in their case of that throwing away of the bag at that particular dumpster where the body was found. We'll, of course, keep you updated.